Welcome to the All About TRH podcast, aka All About the Real Housewives, aka All About the Truth. On this week's episode, we dive into the final part of the Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion and get into why Joe Gorga lost all of his credibility. Hi, Chantel.
Hey, Roxanne.
Chantel, can you believe this is our last week talking about recapping a New Jersey episode?
I know. I was thinking, I was like, you know how they all do a shot at the end? I was like, we need to do that and then go to the spa because we deserve it, especially you.
They're like, I don't think you guys understand how much work has been, how much time and work and all that has been spent on us, like, doing Jersey, like me, Chantel, Laura, who runs All About TRH with me. Like, it's been a lot, you guys. It really, really has. So while I'm sad to see it go, and I feel like in a couple weeks we're gonna miss this. We just need like a couple week break. I'm glad like it's finally over, especially because it's like summertime and it's like I just want to enjoy time with my kids, not be on my phone or that distracted. But oh my gosh, it's going to be really weird. I feel like we're still going to have so many things to report though. But recapping an episode, that takes so long. Like I was talking to Chantel and I was like to her, I'm only 22 minutes in. And she like had been done for like 2 hours, like watching the episode. So yeah.
Guilty.
Because it's like, there's so much that happens. And yeah, I don't know. How was your day, Chantel?
My day was good. How was yours?
I went to Pilates by myself.
Oh, yeah. I told you that was going to be hard. How was it?
I know. And I told the lady that you said that, and they were like, way to be supportive. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, and she was like, what's your like fitness game? Like, what do you
Zero.
do? And
That's what you do.
And I said that, and she's like, oh, okay. So that's why your cousin said that to you. And I was like, yeah, but this was a big deal for me. I'm someone who can't even like walk without speaking on the phone. So to go to a place by myself was a big deal. And so I'm feeling proud of myself. And the girl said I look 19. So I was like, me? Okay.
Wait, so did you do on a reformer and stuff? Like, did you do it?
Yeah, I did.
Was it really hard?
It wasn't. I mean, it's like for a beginner. So I don't think it was really hard. But of course, my ass like was like, all right, I'll sign up. Just like,
wow.
like I'm the worst. Yeah, I'm the worst. Like I'll just like sell me something and I'll sign it. So whatever. It's like a 3-month program. I'm going to try it and see how I do because as Chantel has mentioned, my workout game is at a 0 and it's not okay. So you
want to be healthy and live long. Let's get to working out.
I know, y'all. Okay. So yeah, that's good for me. You guys, we're going to announce our YouTube winner today too.
Yes, I have the winner. So whenever you want me to announce it, I can.
I'm excited. Thank you guys for subscribing to our All About TRH podcast YouTube channel. And
we'll say it at the end.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to say it at the end. Listen to the whole thing. Okay. But thank you for the lovely messages. That was like such a big request from everybody is to get on YouTube. So we're on YouTube. And I think down the line, we'll do videos of Chantel and I talking. But right now we're just lazy. There's just a lot that goes with it, y'all. There's a lot that goes with it. And we're just lazy.
True.
So, even like uploading a YouTube video to YouTube is like a process. And then we have to do it on Facebook and then Twitter and then Instagram, then the website.
I never knew like when people used to say like, oh, like I'm exporting or whatever it takes a few hours. It really does. And I'm like, why?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it does. There's just so many moving parts with this. So yeah, it's a lot, but Chantel,
love it.
I know. Should we get into it? Because I'm heated. I need 10 shots after this, but I actually feel good about this episode, which is like weird.
Yeah, I was so into it that I couldn't even write the notes. And then I had to rewatch some scenes to write the notes. Cause like, that's how much I was like, whoa, what is happening? Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Good,
I know
good.
That's what you told me. You're like, listen, I'm about to like just watch it. And then I'm going to write notes. I'm going to rewatch it because you were so into all that was happening. And
I loved it. Yeah, this episode was the best one.
I need to like rewatch it just like to enjoy it and not to like write notes. But I mean, I have a lot to say, girl. How about you?
Yeah, no, me too.
All right, let's get into it, y'all. Let's talk part 3. Also, like our wait, sorry, our views or downloads for our recaps, like, thank you guys so much.
Oh yeah, people love them.
They've been, okay, we look at our downloads and we're like, holy hell. So thank you guys for supporting us. If you guys are new listeners, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, whether you agree or not. Like, this is all for fun. It's not that serious. Like, this is just something that, you know, me and my cousin are doing, and that's it, y'all. But thank you guys, because
we have some exciting stuff too, even after the New Jersey's done. Yeah. So, you know, keep coming back, please.
Yes. You guys, we're interviewing Jennifer Aiden tomorrow too.
Yes.
So we are very excited about that. We're also interviewing a
Oh yeah, we haven't announced that.
Yeah. We haven't announced that, but you guys heard it here first. Okay. So. I did ask people to ask us questions for Jennifer, but yeah, that one is going to be a good one. I think we're going to make it 2 parts, and then we're going to recap Orange County with the thirstiest Tamara of all. But okay, sorry. Part 3 time. Okay, Chantal, how weird is it to see Frank sit on the other side from Dolores and Pauly?
So weird, but he should have sat there the way he was speaking tonight. So
I swear. Well, that's
and then Fuda breathing in and out. It's like they were ready for game, you guys. Like I think that's like the most important thing to note is even our last episode, we titled it Rehearsed Drama, and I swear you even see even more in this episode. Oh, they're ready to fight.
This made me realize that there's no one thirstier than John effing Fuda.
Yep.
Like, and you know what? He may take the title from Princess Gorga, and that tells you everything. Ugh, he gives me the ick. Ick for being so thirsty. Ick. That's why I feel like, though, also, like with Frank, I like Frank, so it's so hard for me to say this, but that's also why I feel like he especially came for Louis on this episode, because, like, I wonder, would he have been invited this time around if it wasn't for him saying, hey, I got drama with Louis. I'm going to be the most vocal about it.
So true, because, like, if Dolores has a new man, like, why would they have Dolores bring 2 guys here?
Yeah, I mean, but he is, like, so a part of the show.
I know, but it is kind of scary for him, because eventually, like, what is his part on the show? He's just one of the boys. He's one of the friends.
I know. I'm just like mad because I like him so much, and I'm so upset about this whole thing. I will say there was someone who went on who went on TikTok today. Her TikTok is like Julie's Colonic. I don't know how to say her name. Anywho, she went to a fundraiser that Louis hosted. It was all free. Anyone could go. And again, when we did that like dive with Louis' ex, who's harassed him for years, go back to our last episode and listen to it. The one thing, because we took things from other people, we gave them credit, of course, is that they said, and that we saw with our research, is that he does so much charity events, so many things to help others. So he did this event, and it was like free. And this girl, I don't know if you saw it yet, Chantal, she went on TikTok and she was just like, I can't explain to you. She goes, you know, I understand like why people may have thought things with Louis. She said that like he didn't know her. And out of everybody, Louis gave them the greatest experience. He was talking to them. He was making them feel good. He could relate. He's such a good guy. And she was just like raving about Louis in person. And Chantal, that's exactly how we felt when we went to that event. Yeah. We were like, Louis is the best one.
Yeah, like you can take it from you could take whatever you want from the show, but when you're in person with someone and you're seeing how they act, that's their true character, really.
It was all so authentic. Yeah, because you know how there's times where people are like, oh, this celebrity was so terrible or so mean in person or whatever. Like, he's like that without the cameras. And I'm so glad people are speaking out. And I encourage people to speak out, because when we did meet him, like, he was like, no joke, I would say, not no shade to Teresa, but like, he was just the best person that we met there. So, I mean, we've met Teresa a few times at different events, but he was just so great. And my whole point of this is that Frank Catania commented on this video, and he said, I might be the last one these days to throw compliments towards Louis, but one thing I cannot deny is that since I've known Louis in the presence of his sons, he has demonstrated nothing but being a caring, understanding, and loving father. So no matter how I may feel on other issues these days, I will not be one to deny a man the greatest compliment a man can receive. And that is being good at the most important title of all, and that's a father. And thank you, Frank. Thank you for saying that, because you pissed me off this episode.
Yeah, like where was that energy on the episode?
Right. I know. Yeah. Like, oh God, I feel like,
and even like when Andy was like trying to break the ice with all the boys, like he asked him like, oh, how's Brittany? And like, he didn't even say like anything about Brittany. It's like, everything was about him.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Wow.
he didn't even say, he
Okay.
didn't answer the questions like, oh, how's Brittany doing? You know, he just
Brittany, we
answered.
love you.
Yeah. So
We still like you, girl. Okay, just you tell your man because he's making some weird decisions here, but we still stand Brittany and okay. I love how quiet Nate is. Like he doesn't say much, he doesn't get involved, and I appreciate a man
as he
like that.
should, because it's his
Mm-hmm.
first season. Like, okay, I get it. Like, when more things happen, then you can talk. Even Bill, it's like his fifth season, he barely talks.
I
Like,
love that.
unless
I
I know,
love that.
unless they ask him questions directly, that's all you should be doing. This is
Joe,
not your show.
yeah, Joe says his heart is beating out of his chest right now, which is ironic because Teresa said that, but also like he watched it from the back. So it's like, shut up, Joe. Just saying, shut up, princess. Okay, because they were watching it from the back. So
Everyone's gonna kill me on this episode because I'm gonna go ham.
oh gosh. Well, I mean, I probably feel the same way as you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hope. John Thirsty Fuda. What's a name we can call him? Anyways, he talks about his lipo.
Firsty Fuda. I'm just kidding.
What did you say? Flirsty?
Firsty instead of thirsty.
Okay, we're gonna stick with John Thirsty Fuda. Okay, anyways. So John talks about his lipo. Andy gets right to okay, no one cares, like you change your appearance for your wife's show. Anyways, Andy gets right to the pajama comment, and Louis basically says that the pajama comment, it didn't land well, and it did come off creepy, and he just thought it would have been a way to connect, and that obviously wasn't the way to do it. He said that he always just wanted to be close with Joe. Louis said that he wanted to have a relationship with Princess, and says that's all Teresa wanted.
What really threw me off on this whole scene was like when Louis was trying to explain his reasoning, the way Andy's face was like as in he was so like weirded out by him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Andy needs to sit back because he's starting to bother me. Princess Gorka says he wants to believe him, but every time he does, Louis screws him. Obviously, Princess is feeling screwed over regarding the Pizzagate drama now. So it's like, shut up, Joe. You didn't make money that he thought he was going to by presenting an idea. So this is like, everything goes back to Pizzagate, and that's all that it is. And it comes on later on in the episode, and we'll talk about it. Princess says he wants nothing from Louis but a family. Then he says Teresa was the best when she got out of prison, and that he called Teresa every day. And Teresa, I was proud of you this episode. Oh my God. She did great. Teresa sets Princess straight and says it's because we were filming, which is accurate. They started filming the second Teresa left those doors. Bravo literally waited until Teresa got out of prison to resume the Real Housewives of New Jersey. That's how valuable Teresa is.
But okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
To me, it's the weirdest thing for someone to say the best you ever was when you came out of jail. Like her freedom was straight from her, and you're now saying the best she was when she came out of jail. Like, how low can you be?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
she hasn't seen her kids. Like her lowest time, that was the best version that you've seen of your sister. How about no? Exactly.
Right. And of course, Melissa gets involved, and she goes, "Why are you so negative?"
Oh my God, I was dying. I was like, "You're the negative one. You are the one that's negative."
It's like, well, maybe because you guys didn't come to their wedding, and then accuse her of setting you guys up, and then you were at Teresa's fate. You were in Teresa's face at the season finale, ready to comfort her. Maybe because you made her whole wedding stressful to simply not come, and then you talk crap about her on social media one night before her wedding. That's why, Melissa, she may be negative right now. And she wasn't even being negative. Like, she's like answering questions at this point.
And she's over them. So she's just telling them how it is.
Chantal, here's my theory on this. Again, Melissa sat, we've talked about this on the last seat for the season 12 reunion, which means she had nothing significant that went on the show like the other ladies did. And that's why the other ladies were seated where they were at. They knew if they went to the wedding and acted like all is well, Bravo might come back and say, we don't need you guys anymore. You have nothing to offer us. Nothing's really going on in your life. And you guys are good with Teresa. And they make millions off the show at the end of the day. So they say, let's tell Teresa how we really feel so that we secure our spot. And that's exactly what I think Melissa and Princess did. They have chosen fame over family, period.
Sad.
It really is. Teresa says, you and your wife never took me to dinner. And Joe acknowledges that he didn't and says, well, you were single. out like crazy, and they would only go out as a couple. Of course, Melissa has to bring up the fact that Teresa hung out with 20-year-olds. Like, she could have responded and been like, you were out with people, but she says you were out with 20-year-olds, all because Teresa had been photoed, one time with the same guy who was young. And so what if she was? Melissa, and I don't know if anyone else notices this, but, Melissa did say that you were out every single night. Teresa says, well, we take Louis' single sister out all the time. And Jennifer says that she takes out her single sister everywhere with her and Bill. But I did notice when Melissa said 20-year-old comment, she said you were out with that 20-year-old, but then she corrected herself and then said you were out with 20-year-olds, making it plural, like Teresa had been with several 20-year-olds out every single night, different people. Teresa is like, Melissa, I don't want to talk to you. And it's so frustrating that Teresa can never have a conversation with Joe without Melissa being involved.
And it's so funny. It's like, are you jealous that she was out with young people? Is that what you want in your life? Are you mad that you can't go and like do what she was doing?
Which we all know, like Loki,
exactly.
Melissa would love to.
You would love to.
Right. Teresa says, I want to talk to my brother, not you. And Melissa is like, oh, now he's your brother? You disowned us an hour ago. You said he never want to see us again. And Joe acts shocked that Teresa would say that. And it's like, shut the hell up, Joe. Teresa says, this is the last time you're going to speak. And Joe says, that's terrible. The way they act like victims and try to spin it. Teresa says, you've dragged me through the mud for the last 10 years. You wanted this. And Princess tells Teresa, you're ruining yourself. And Louis like, no, she's not. Louis calmly asks, how's she ruining herself? She's trying to communicate with her brother. And Louis says both he and Melissa should just stay out of it. And Melissa won't let that happen. She keeps going at Teresa. And then Teresa says that Melissa's a gaslighting bitch. And you know what? I agree with her. I agree with Teresa completely. And then Melissa's like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with her?
I know. You know what? Every single commentary from her is like, why would you say that? What are you doing? What is, it's like, how about you form a sentence and actually make sense and then come back at her?
I swear. Andy, things switch over a little bit. And Andy asked Joe Bonino about having a toddler in the house. And it's like, are you joking, right? I love toddlers. I have toddlers. I don't care here about Margaret's friend's toddler.
And this is weird that like he's the one that's like taking him to school. It's such a weird situation.
Very weird. I'm uncomfortable, but okay. When Andy asked the man questions, you could just see John Fuda get so thirsty. Fuda, he's so excited about it. He's like, all right, here I am. I lost weight. I did lipo. I did cosmetic surgery, all for this moment. Here it is. And I need to investigate also again why John changed his last name, because I'm thinking this guy has a backstory. Something's going on as to why he would change his last name. And I'm thinking it has something. You're not going to change your last name. And I know some people told us like, yeah, he changed his last name for, because food is a popular name on town. Okay, calm down, you guys. Like, this isn't like Angelina Jolie and Jennifer Aniston. I mean, but not calm down like you guys, but like calm down like John, if like that's what he wants people to believe. People will change their name for a reason. Okay. And I don't know if there's like, my whole theory on it is like, people will change their name if they have something to hide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
So,
and he did it right before the show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get I think a couple years, I don't know, but we need to get our investigative here. I did hear it was right before the show, but I don't want to say for sure. We need to get our investigative hats on. We need to find out why John really changed his last name, because I'm just curious. Because I don't think.
Where did the Fuda name come from? That's Rachel's?
His mom's.
Oh.
Right. He changed.
So then she had to change her name too. This is weird. Okay.
Yes. So, so her last name's Fuda. So yeah, they changed their last name. I don't know if he did it before. I don't know what it is. I don't know. All I know is that his brother runs the Fuda business, which is also like, why does the brother run the tile shop? Why don't you? That's why it's making me think, does he have something he's hiding? So you guys are amazing at this. I'll try my best too, but find out what's behind the original last name and search his full last name and see. I'm going to do this as well. Anyways, they asked Frank.
Just hire Bodito.
Oh, Bodito. Yeah, for real. They asked Frank about him letting Dolores go. He said it's hard letting a best friend go, which like I can understand. He's like, it's not about like a sexual relationship, none of that. They then asked Frank about living with David and if he pays rent. And Frank basically says, no, he doesn't pay rent, but like he'll help with the house stuff. And I'm sorry, what? This is just a lot. It's very weird.
So weird.
I mean, luckily him and Brittany finally have bought a house, and that's great. Do you think Brittany and Frank are going to have another kid or have a kid?
That'd
Brittany's
be
our
crazy.
age.
Oh my God.
No, Brittany.
I think Dolores would die. So I don't know.
I don't think she would die. I think she would actually raise the child and help Brittany raise the child and be like a cool, whatever she is to that child. But I just,
Like imagine the kids, like you have an older brother that's like 24. Like that'd be a
oh
lot. Like
yeah,
I feel
no,
like,
it's too
wow. I mean,
much.
God
Yeah,
bless. I mean, kids are amazing. So
they
that's what
really are the
comes out of
best
the
thing ever.
relationships, and that'd be amazing. But wow.
Yeah. Okay. Bill gets asked about the pool house comment and if he feels guilty about not being around his family. Bill says, listen, I picked a profession that isn't suitable for family life and I have missed games, but I'm not in the pool house all night. Andy asked Bill about therapy and he says he wasn't miserable over the therapy and says he learned how to ease up because there's no alternative to, like he's saying like there's no such thing as divorce basically. And the only thing they can do is to work on their marriage. And I appreciate that. I appreciate
Yeah.
someone who talks like that about marriage. It's refreshing.
Yeah, I felt like he was such a great guy in that moment. It's because you can tell he does want to make the relationship work, and the relationship has gotten better. So it was nice. I know we go back and forth with Bill a lot because we're like, is he being a good husband,
Is
or
he uncle tendencies like our uncles
yeah,
that we
like
know? Yeah.
I'm like, is he there? Is he not there? But yeah, he seems like he's getting it finally.
But Bill, I will say, okay, we're all going to be on our deathbed one day and we're not going to be thinking about our profession and our work. We're going to be thinking about the times we miss. So let's get on that, okay? They then ask Pauly and Dolores about getting married. Pauly says that Dolores doesn't want to get married. She says that's not true. And I don't think that's true at all. And Chantal, now Pauly's comment about the wedding stuff when we met him makes sense.
Oh, really? Now after like almost 5 months of me keep telling you and you didn't believe
I
me?
know. Chantal said that she asked Pauly if he's going to get married. And what did he say?
Like not yet, not soon. Like basically not anytime soon.
Are you sure? You guys,
Yeah.
is that what she said? Okay,
I don't know,
well.
guys. Let me go back. I don't remember what I said. It's
Yeah.
hard, but
I know that was like in the end of February. So yeah, but I mean, he's married. When Pauly says getting married to Dolores is not a rush for her, if you guys look back at Princess Gorga, he rolls his eyes and it's like, Joe, sit back. Are you just rolling your eyes because Pauly isn't picking on Louis with you? Like, why do you give a shit? Like, just sit back. And they talk about Pauly's ex, and Pauly says he's been separated for 14 years and that Dolores is the first that's ever been introduced to his children.
hell
And I
yeah.
think that's great. I mean, like 14 years and that's like the first. That's amazing. I would feel really good if I was Dolores.
Yeah, I'd feel so special.
Right. Andy asks Frank if Frankie Jr. is still working with Louis, and Frank says he's not. And then in comes Princess Gorga. He's excited.
Those two rehearsed it right there.
Right. He's excited to follow up on the question. And I wrote this, what they've rehearsed by saying, what happened? He can't even let Andy ask what happened, but Princess Gorga asks what happened. And Dolores chimes in and says, Frankie Jr. got another job and that was it. Princess Gorga says, that's not what I heard. Then Princess asked Louis what happened. And I am just so upset that Frank can't see Joe is using him to go after Louis.
And I wish Louis did talk in that moment and just set them all straight, but he was just like, being nonchalant in that moment
I think Dolores doesn't want to talk about her son. And
once he heard Dolores say that, he's like, you know what, why am I gonna even go there? But then and they just kept going. They just kept going
exactly,
at it.
which they look stupid. And Louis says, why don't you tell us? I'd love to hear your narrative about it. And that's what he asks, Princess Gorga. And of course, Melissa turns and whispers, no, let Frank tell it all. Again, all rehearsed, all planned. They know it won't look as believable if Princess Gorga tells it. Dolores says, let me tell you what happened. She says, Louis gave my son a job. She says Frank Jr. is very happy working with Louis and says he is very thankful for Louis. And while Dolores is talking, Joe looks pissed. He is furious. Frank whispers, I won't say anything first. They got to bring it up. And Melissa keeps scrambling, turning around right to left to try to figure out with Frank who's going to say it or who's going to bring it up. How it will get brought up. Dolores says, I don't know what their story is, and I don't want to talk about Frankie at all. And of course, Princess Gorga, he can't stop himself. He continues to keep inserting himself, and Joe says, I have known Frankie all his life, and he told me some things, and Teresa's like, I don't know what you guys are trying to do here. And this is when Dolores gets pissed, and she's like, Joe Gorga, Melissa, and then I think it was Jennifer who's like, tell them to stop. At the end of the day, Frankie Jr. is at the beginning of his career, right? He told us exclusively he doesn't understand why he has been brought into this, that he had a great experience working for Louis. The fact that Frank Catania is now allowing Joe to throw his son under the bus, all to what? To get back at Louis? It's mind-boggling
when
to
he
me.
doesn't want it.
Yes, you know your son wants nothing to do with it. Why are you allowing Joe to do this? Teresa looks at Joe and she's like, I don't know what happened to you. And Dolores is like, this ends right here about you questioning Louis and Frankie Jr. because they're very good. Melissa turns over to Joe and she's like, she doesn't want the story talked about. And Dolores tells Joe, you and I never had a problem, just like we said on our reunion tea episode was going to happen. And then Dolores says, I don't want one. Dolores says, I'm very happy and very thankful for Louis. And Dolores says, thank you for when you hired my son. And Andy asks Dolores, why is she so upset? And she's like, dude, I don't want to talk about my son. He has a great job. And Dolores doesn't want him dragged in stuff that has nothing to do with him because grown men are mad at Louis.
And her son is trying to get into like some master programs in different schools. And it's like, he doesn't want his name plastered all over the media. Exactly. And that's what a great mom respects her son. And some of the other moms on the show, which we'll talk about, do not know how to respect their kids' wishes to not be brought up.
Exactly. Joe Gorga, he can't respect Dolores at all, and he still continues to drag out Frankie Jr. He will not stop.
Yeah, because this was like one of the biggest points that they were trying to like make or something that they've all talked about. It's like, we're gonna say this, we're gonna say this.
Exactly. And it's like, it's not like Joe is doing this because of his love for Frankie Jr., but it's just because he wants to call Louis out. So despite Dolores saying, do not speak on my son, Joe insists that he keeps it going, and he asks Louis what happened because Princess Gorga knows that Frank says he'll only talk about it if Louis does, and Louis is not. He's respecting Dolores. So Joe is trying to poke Louis so that Louis talks about it. Pauly tells Dolores to just chill and ignore it. Pauly, you never tell a mama bear to just chill, okay? Like, sit back, Pauly. Then John Fuda. Oh my God, thirsty Fuda, y'all. This was so bad.
And this is the part where like Melissa was like she was like so giddy, like she couldn't wait for this. But go.
Yeah, John Thirsty Fuda, he couldn't even wait 5 minutes before the thirst came in, and he says, I have a question. How come Louis and Teresa brought my child's mother into this? Asking why Louis had them investigated. Louis says, I didn't have you investigated. And then Margaret's husband chimes in, and he's like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. And it's like, okay, first off, little guy, why are you speaking? Please stop speaking.
You're not allowed to ask questions. You're not Andy, so please sit down and wait for your turn.
And who are you?
Yeah, John first season Fuda, boy.
Right. No, I'm talking about freaking Joe Bonino. Like, please stop talking.
Oh my God. Yeah. He's like so irrelevant.
Exactly. Point proven with you not even realizing. John Fuda says, you had me investigated. I am friends with people that were contacted by Boudidal Duty. And he told us, and then he pulls out this envelope. He doesn't open it, but he just pulls it out, okay? Louis says, I never had you investigated. And Thirsty Fuda says, leave my kids out of it. And Louis is like, I never had you investigated. And of course, Melissa and Margaret say, you admitted it on the show. These people all got, and like they talk about the Bobita, whatever stuff. Like,
Bodidal.
Yeah, Bodidal stuff about him saying it on the finale, which is annoying that he did say it. But it's just like, it's so frustrating that all of them got together before this to say this and then pin it on Louis and Teresa.
Well, it was because like he says are you gonna say that he says it in a place of anger, and then they're like, well, why'd you say it the next day? But it all makes sense when he says, I have him for someone else.
Yeah, so I am gonna get into that.
Yeah,
but I just feel like what they did was try to take advantage of what he said on the season finale. And Melissa and Margaret are truly, they truly in their heart of heart, they believe that they're capable of getting Teresa fired. So that's exactly what they're trying to do here. And Teresa's like, all right, Thirsty Fuda, prove it. Can you prove it? Andy asks Louis if he investigated Thirsty John Fuda, and Louis says, no, dude. And John says a private investigator reached out to him and that you can't just contact someone in prison. Then he says those people happen to use a number that trace back to Louis. Does anyone not know how effing stupid this sounds? First off, media contacts prisoners all the time. In fact, they'll contact officials first. Then if officials refuse an interview request, reporters will still communicate and still can communicate with inmates by having their name added to a list of people who they may call, visit, or write. and they can all write letters. Also, a prison will never give John Thirsty Fuda a tracking of a number so that Thirsty Fuda has this number. A prison does not get involved with this. And especially like you don't even have a relationship with your son's mother. So why are you acting like you have any information? Open up the envelope, Thirsty Fuda. We want to see
the envelope that looked like that was like 300 pages long. Yeah. It was the scariest thing ever. It's like, what's in there?
Right.
Please bring it.
It's just the prison owes John nothing to give that information over. So wake up. This sounds so stupid. And also she was in a halfway house, but let's blame Louis for getting the Sun Media, a known media site who interviews people from prison, for being the one who got them to connect. I am baffled by all of this. Teresa is like, dude, we have no interest in your family. And Andy asked Louis who he was referring to when it came to the Bo Little stuff. Bo Dietl having stuff on the cast. And Louis says, you know, what Chantel said, it was stated out of anger. Then Rachel and Melissa says they were at dinner and Bo Dietl was sitting next to them. First off, Bo Dietl, oh gosh, I need to stop saying his name, but he has a team. He wouldn't be just doing that. And they would have for sure snapped a photo if that was true, these two thirsty people. And they probably made that up. Knowing their history of lying, they probably made that up. But okay. John is trying to make a moment on his wife's show. And he's like, Louis, stop your bullshit. Fuda says, I got connections. I got big ones. And Louis literally is like, what the F is happening? He goes to John, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, and like what would it serve him? Like what would it serve him? You just got on the show. Like who are you guys to him? He doesn't even know you guys.
And yeah, and Teresa keeps saying, okay, prove it. I mean, you brought this like envelope, prove it. I'm all about, and Teresa says, I'm all about the proof. It kind of sounds like I'm all about the truth, all about Terry. She's like, I'm all about the proof. And of course, not once does John Fuda open that envelope or does Andy tell him to open it. That envelope stays closed, wrapped up, and yeah, it never gets open. Melissa says, so you're saying you didn't hire anyone? And Louis says, no, he was stressed and it was out of anger, and that Bo Dietl is a friend. He says he was just stressed because he didn't want this to go on with Melissa and Joe, and Princess Gorga is like, but you do. But I mean, we have several text messages that we put on allabouttrh.com where Louis begs, pleads, and tries with Princess. And Princess wants none of it because Joe is simply just pissed that Louis wasn't going to give him 50% off this pizza oven idea that he stole. Production gets a call from Louis' security to come up. And while, yes, unnecessary, I don't blame him. These people are coming in hot, like someone murdered their friend and they need revenge. He says that, you know, he didn't hire the security, but that Bo Dietl actually brought him on. And Margaret is pissed because Andy is very annoyed because no one's like letting anyone speak. So she actually had pulled out an envelope because she's like, this is my moment. This is my time. And then she literally puts that envelope.
Do you see how they both were the same colors? Like the same color of like investigate. Yeah. Like why?
Because they all got together. They did this together.
They went to like Michael's. It was like they were doing a craft book together.
Louis says he's getting death threats, and Melissa says, we've never had this happen before until you came along. Again, they are trying to pin this against Louis because they think
it's just so wild.
They just honestly, Chantal, they think that they can get Teresa off the show. And then John Thirsty Fuda is like clapping. And it's like, I am so uncomfortable by the level of thirst coming out of John. It's disgusting. It's weird. It is cringe. It is ick. It is everything you could possibly think about. You are speaking more than your wife
He's
has.
Clearly obsessed. He's clearly obsessed with Princess Gorga, and like he probably told him and like riled him up, and he was probably telling him like, this is what you should do, this is what you should do, and he wanted to like impress him or something. I swear that's what happened.
And I did hear that they've been trying to get on the show for years. He's been hanging out with Princess for years, so maybe he feels like loyalty because Princess, like knowing Princess, even if Princess wasn't behind getting Fuda and Bravo Lover 1, 2, 3, 4 on the show, he's like taking credit. So they feel like loyalty because they're like scared or something. Louis says that Bo Dietl is working on a case on someone that has been harassing his life, and he's talking about his ex. And we have showed you in several different ways how many of you like, or how many ways that prove Vanessa, Louis' ex, is harassing him, in my opinion, because she's the one who's actually keeps feeding info to Margaret. She releases videos that only she was sent from Louis, and Louis says that what they have found is Margaret is the one who has been speaking to Vanessa, the ex, and has been affiliated her. What did you think about that?
It made sense to me because like when he said like, oh, Bo Dietl is the one that sent me the security, everyone's like, what the fuck? And I was thinking that too, but then he ends up saying like, I have someone who's crazy and stalking me. And it makes sense since we just found out all the things that you told us on the last episode. And the way that she's intertwined with the cast, maybe that's why Bo Dietl knows stuff about you, because he has to know, because he's seeing what he's investigating her, and he's seeing her message you guys all the time and talking to you guys all the time. That's what he's hired for.
Yeah, exactly.
It has nothing to do with you guys. So maybe Bo Dietl on his own found that information and said it to Louis. I mean, if it comes out that Louis did hire Bo Dietl to investigate them, that's wrong. But why hasn't it came out yet?
Yeah, I genuinely believe that
he hasn't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I genuinely believe that he literally probably does have something against his ex, but it's because his ex won't leave him alone. I need to read this to you guys. So after we put out the Vanessa story about how, like, you guys need to go check it out on allaboutterry.com. And I should have shortened it because there's so much information, but it's just, this is how fraudulent this person is. Like, she is that person who cries wolf, and she, gives victims a bad name because there's actual real victims out there. And let me tell you guys, love you guys, a listener message Vanessa, because they had apparently sent in a question, because Vanessa was like, ask me a question, whatever you guys want. And in this like little thing, she does say, again, Vanessa's Louis' ex, who's been like harassing him for the last couple of years. In this, she says, by the way, because we had put out how every single one of Vanessa's ex-husbands and boyfriends have came out and said that they were scared for their life, have warned another, have said that she was the worst, like literally husband
went
one,
to the
husband
courts.
Two, got a restraining order granted, and then a boyfriend who warned, do not go for her. Anyways, so one of our listeners asked her, why do you make comments on the Housewives and their kids and why do you comment on their kids' posts as if you know them personally? So she goes, Vanessa says, I don't. So the listener, our listener, All About Tears listener says, but there have been screenshots where you respond how beautiful or gorgeous they are, specifically Antonia. Can you explain that? And then Vanessa goes, she's gorgeous. And then our listener says, yes, she definitely is, but I'm even more confused as why you answered my question stating that you do not comment on their posts, but are now telling me that you do comment because you feel Antonia is gorgeous. Sorry, this is all very confusing, because why would you comment on your ex-fiance's niece when you know that's his new family? Seems odd. So then Vanessa says, I said, I don't know her personally, and that's what I mean when I say I don't. I think Antonia is gorgeous, as I've watched the show for years. Why do you seem to care so much who I think is gorgeous? Gia and her sisters are also gorgeous. What is your point here? It's America, and I'll comment where I like. Thank you. And then our listener says, I feel like that was a manipulative response. It was not direct whatsoever. You're the one who asked for questions and to ask you anything. And now you're getting upset. And I'm just asking for clarification, because I cannot understand why you are commenting on someone who you say you're fearful of, and the affiliation with it. And what does she respond? I'm trying to see what she responds. She just like put a thumbs up to it. She doesn't even say anything.
Yeah, because when someone actually says like, okay, you're scared of this guy, you don't want nothing to do with him, there's a restraining order, so why are you talking to people around him?
I actually found it this. Sorry, I couldn't read it because it's like small on our website for some reason. It says, my point is that if it's odd that someone who is fearful about her ex, and then she put in parentheses, abuser, would circle so closely to his life, and she said, like, I'm like a victim of this. Like, I just don't understand why you would be so involved in his life if you were the victim of this. And she just put a thumbs up. So yeah, this also validates like how twisted this person is and how obsessed she is. Again, she has a highlight of RHONJ, like she's like a cast member or something. So scary. Louis says, are you claiming that that's not happening, Margaret, that you're not talking to my ex? And Margaret says, no. Yet Margaret follows Vanessa, has brought her up, has said she's talked to her, and has said she's seen the videos before they were even released. The Warrior video, which in court records show that his ex had told Louis, you need to go to this Warrior thing, that came from the ex. Okay, so everyone was making fun of it, whatever. This ex made Louis said, if you don't go here, we're going to have a problem. And it's on court records that she said that to him. But all of this came from Margaret. Margaret, and you know what Margaret does? Margaret does what Margaret does best. She deflects from the situation. She deflects that she looks like a jackass for being in contact with this crazy person who, by the way, we also found out another person reached out to us and said, I am Vanessa's former friend. And just so you know, I did tell Margaret all of this about Vanessa, and she still proceeded to continue and to go and let all this information about Louis come out, knowing how Vanessa is. And I am someone who has been friends with her for several years, over 20 years. So, okay, Margaret is just not a good person. So Margaret deflects. She claims that Louis called her child at a place of work and that her son wants absolutely nothing to do with the show, and that Louis called him and the number was traced back to Louis' number. Andy says that, there's been a lot of spoofing going on amongst housewives, and even, again, Harry from England, he was fooled recently by being spoofed. We tested it out. You can spoof a landline as well. Me and Chantal literally tested it out. We called her mom's house phone. Margaret says Louis called her son's place of business, and it saddens me how these people are willing to throw their own children under the bus because they have more hate for Louis than love for their kids. If Margaret says that her son wants absolutely nothing to do with the show, why bring this on the reunion? If your son wants nothing to do with the show, which he doesn't, he even made his grandmother, Marge Sr., delete a photo of him 5 minutes after she put it up on social media. Why bring this to the reunion when you already made Bravo producers aware of this? Because she did. Bravo producers were aware that this is what Margaret said happened. These people are deflecting from their bad behavior, like Margaret getting close with Louis' ex by throwing their own kids under the bus. And that's exactly what Margaret does here. She dragged her son. So now people are going to Google her son. There are already stories on Google when you Google his name about all this because Margaret hates Louis that much that she was willing to bring this to light, even though she made Bravo producers aware of this months ago, despite not being able to prove whether it was a spoof or not. And this had me thinking because a listener of ours actually sent a spoof they did with Margaret and Teresa in December. And it was hilarious because they both picked up. Chantal, did you read that? Because it was on our All About TRH podcast inbox.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Margaret says the police have the records, but obviously if they had something, that was threatening or bad or alarming where he would feel unsafe, something would
And why
happen.
are you guys calling the police for these things? Like, I'm so confused.
I don't believe that she is. I really don't believe that she is.
It's crazy. Like, why would anybody, like, everybody watching is like thinking you guys are crazy. You guys are calling the police to find out if someone spoofed somebody.
And yeah, and again,
or someone called someone's work, they would hang up on you and say, I'm sorry, this is not an appropriate thing. Bye.
I truly do not believe that she called the police. There's no records. There's no nothing. She's just saying that because they're just doing what they can to try and deflect from their bad behavior, try and deflect from all the things that Margaret has done to other people, try and deflect from how shitty Melissa and Joe were to Teresa during her wedding. That's all that they're doing. Now, don't you agree with that, though?
I'm still so pissed that she was there at their wedding. I'm so mad.
Oh my gosh, I really am too. Like, she did not deserve to be there. Frank Catania then says, did you investigate Joe and I? And Louis says, Frank, why would I investigate you? What bad stuff would possibly come out of Frank Catania? And Frank says, well, there's a lot of bad things, unfortunately. And I was like, Frank, what the fuck are you saying? Frank, Frank, stop talking.
It clearly shows everyone who's so scared of this, being investigated. They have a lot of skeletons, a lot.
Right. Like, I'm scared now. Like, what do we got on Frank? I mean, we know what happened with his, what is it called?
Disbarred.
Yeah, he was disbarred. Like, we know that. But
yeah, when he started talking about, which is going to come up next, I'm like, shut up, Frank, you were disbarred.
Right. Oh my God, yes. Now, Bravo Lover 1234 and Melissa are blaming Louis for getting hate on social media. They can't accept that they are unlikable, and they think Louis is the reason. When Melissa has been getting this same consistent feedback since she came on, Louis says that's not why there's so much hate. And it's like, tell them, Louis, tell them, let them know. You, especially you, Bravo Lover 1234, boo, you came off hot. You came off strong. You came off very unlikable, like we've said this season.
And the fact that they're going to sit there and say like they're paying a bunch of people, like we truly have listeners and followers who constantly tell us their feelings about these
Oh my gosh,
people.
so
And
true.
it's all real. We can go on their profiles. We see who they are. They have their own Instagram, their own family, their own thing. These are
Yeah.
real people. So I'm so sorry that you can't
We're
handle
real
that people, and
people.
we're real people and we're not getting paid. So I'm so sorry that you can't handle that people just don't like you guys.
If anyone wants to pay me, I would be happily to accept. I'm so trying to get paid for this. I would love that. But we are not getting paid by anyone. We are normal people. We have jobs outside of this. We have our own life outside of this. We're not getting paid. Okay. I'm sorry that you guys are not liked. Margaret mocks. And then Margaret says, you're trying to intimidate us. Open your eyes, people. As you can see, Andy has not even been able to ask Louis one question about what happened this season because they all ask anyone what happened because they're all just trying to pin everything on Louis so that all the questions that Andy can ask get ignored. And that's exactly what happened. Like Andy didn't really ask much. And then there's this narrative. They push this narrative. And then Teresa, they hope probably will get fired. Margaret mocks Louis for having a tattoo on his chest that says warrior. And he's like, yes, I do. And then he says, be careful. And I don't get why Louis isn't able to defend himself from people who have tried to make his life hell and ruin his name. Like they keep going at him. They want him to react.
I know, it's a lot.
And then Margaret's husband is like, are you threatening my wife? And it's like, sit down, little guy. And then Princess is so messy. He's like, how's Rue La La? Again, the Rue La La video that was so dumb. It was a video that Louis' ex, Vanessa, released that they are all in contact with this girl. And she was the one who also released this video. And then Louis shits on Princess Gorga and he's like, how's your building? Did you get millions of dollars in fines last week? I'll buy it. And I was like, damn, Louis. That's right. And Louis
like, Joe,
says,
we know you're shady as F with your businesses, so literally. Shut up.
And then Louis says to Princess, your day is coming. And it's like, yep, karma will always come. Might take a little bit longer, but it'll happen. They get asked about Pizzagate, and Princess Gorga says that Louis ghosted him 1,000%. And Andy says, all right, well, Louis, we haven't heard your side. And Louis says, well, Joe came to me with an idea, a knockoff from another restaurant who does it and says, this will be good for your sister. That's how he presented it. Louis says he then meets with Princess Gorga's nephew and cuts a check for $110,000 for pizza ovens. Louis says Joe agreed and moved forward, and Melissa chimes in. And Teresa's like, you're not involved because Teresa and Melissa were never in these conversations. Andy is like, let Louis finish, and then I want to hear Joe's side. Not Melissa's narrative and how she'll spin things, but he wants to hear Princess Gorga's side. There's a point where Teresa says, I wasn't involved. It was them too. And she knows nothing. And Melissa says, I know everything. And Teresa's like, oh, you do? And Melissa goes, you're embarrassing. And Teresa's like, you are. And Andy is like, you're both embarrassing. And this was a very telling moment where Melissa laughs with herself. Like literally no one was laughing. Teresa looks so disappointed. She looks like drained and distraught about the whole thing. And to Melissa, it's all a joke. Like she's literally giving us that hyena laugh. Yeah. And she dead ass just laughs with herself because Andy said that they're both embarrassing. It was so cringe.
Because you are.
Louis calls Joe and says, do you want to take 5 or 10%? Because the way Joe made it was like he was doing this for his sister and he wasn't putting any money in. So Louis was like, okay, I'll still give you a cut. Teresa says Louis misunderstood that her brother would never do that for her. Louis says Princess Gorga got upset. And Joe says, yes, he did get upset. Joe says, he figured that he was going to put money in, but they never talked about money. And it's like, wait, Joe, if you thought you were going to get 50%, why aren't you talking about money from the get-go?
Exactly. That makes no sense. It makes no sense to me at all. When
he had zero plans to put in the money. He even said that previously.
When you come up with a business or anything, the one thing you think about is how much is this going to cost me to make this business? Mm-hmm. And if you had the money, or if your nephew had the money, then you guys would come up and say, we need X amount to start it. We need this from you guys.
They just use the nephew because the nephew has like a warehouse and he like orders those things. Yeah. And remember the nephew, the dog idea that happened. Yeah. Luckily for them, that didn't get brought up. Princess Gorga says, you screwed me. And Teresa's like, what the F are you talking about? Louis is the one who effing lost the money, not Joe. Joe could have still went along with it. Joe says, Louis stole the idea. And Louis has not made a dime from this. He hasn't even done it on his own. So how how is Joe the victim in this?
Yeah, like it's like they act like he took the idea, he actually did it. Now they're like multimillionaires from this business. It's like this business is like he's trying to probably sell pizza ovens to get his money back. That's what the most that they can do at this point.
And they're not even doing that. They're not even doing
and
that.
it wasn't even that great of an idea. And it wasn't even a great idea. You're literally like, there's so many people, there's so many people you can go to Best Buy, Home Depot, and get a freaking pizza oven, you guys.
Like, I'm sorry, it really wasn't the best idea.
So stupid.
And they have given people it at charity events that Louis has sponsored, and then majority of them are in his warehouse, so he hasn't made a penny from these. And he asked John Fuda,
can I have one?
I know, I swear. And John Fuda says, Andy asked John Fuda, like, what do you think should have happened? And John Thirsty Fuda says, well, if it was Joe Gorga's idea, there should have been a document. And Teresa says, thank you, Thirsty Fuda. I told him he should have put a document, and Teresa says that Louis said, I don't want to insult him with it. And Melissa is like, there should have been a document. And it's like, okay, then Princess Gorga, why did you not put the document together? Because you had no intention of putting money in, or you would have been like, all right, you're good with this idea. Let's go 50-50. Here's my document. But Joe is so used to doing things without documents. That's why. Then Andy starts screaming at the top of his lungs at Teresa so that John Fuda could finish what he was saying, because John is just dying to get more camera time. Now, they then ask about Princess Gorga, about Gorga saying that Dave Canton, Dina's husband, called him. Dina's and when they ask Joe about Dina's husband, Joe's face instantly gets red.
Yep.
And Louis is like, that was Joe Gorga lying. Dave even called Joe Gorga following the episode, called him out. He even threatened to sue Joe Gorga because he's lying on his name on national television. And all Princess Joe could say is, okay, well, where's the lawsuit? Have people opened their eyes yet? First, we have Joe lying on Frank Jr. when Frank Jr. told us exclusively that none of what Joe said is true. And now it's pretty damn obvious that Joe lied about Dave Canton calling him, because he doesn't deny anything that Louis is saying. He doesn't deny that, Dave called him and said that's not true. He doesn't deny any of it. He just says, well, where's the lawsuit?
Disgusting.
Now Joe Gorga, Louis' label, now Joe Gorga label. God, I'm like a tongue twister today. I'm a fucking mess. I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't know.
Keep going, girl. No, you're doing great. Go.
No, you know what it was also? When I left Pilates today, I was so dizzy, and I'm like, and I still kind of feel dizzy. So I don't know if that's what it is, but I'm fine, guys.
Drink some water, girl.
I know. I swear I'm probably dehydrated. Sorry, because I feel like I keep messing up. But anyways, now Joe labels Louis a businessman, someone who is so involved in charities, philanthropy, all of that. Joe is so low. He calls Louis a woman abuser. And now Joe says that's why he doesn't like him. And I can't keep up with Princess Gorga. And that proves that Joe spoke to Louis' ex, who has been harassing him for the last couple of years. And Joe then goes and says, look how you're looking at me. And it's like, yeah, I think anyone would want to beat the crap out of you after you label them a woman abuser on national television.
I would have went there and literally dragged his ass out of the stage.
With zero evidence. Like, that's a big freaking deal. Just like how Margaret called Jennifer a drug addict. They say the most vile things to them, and there's no consequence. Like, if that was any other franchise, if they said that in Orange County, if they said that in Beverly Hills, Atlanta, they would be fired. But Joe, for some reason, he gets away with saying whatever he wants. Margaret, for some reason, calls Jennifer Aiden, a mom of 5, a drug addict. They get away with it all. It is the most bizarre thing ever. Louis says, you're going to meet your match one day. And Louis calls Princess a bully. And Melissa's like, why are you doing that? He welcomed you. And Louis like, yeah. And I welcomed Joe
did too.
Too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Joe Gorga, he's laughing throughout it all. And what's sad is that Joe Gorga, seriously, he's like lost himself. And you can tell he's impacted by all of this every day. And Louis is like, like he's over it. I think Louis handling it pretty well. Louis does say, like, I don't get what you want, an award for welcoming me. Like, I did the same thing with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Louis just needs to say to him, like, just realize what you say to us is going to come back at you. Like, what you do is going to come back at us. But then instead, his phrases are very off-putting to, like, I think, and he just needs to say it. Like, just say, like, it's going to come at you one day. And it's going to be because what you're doing to us right now. Not because I'm going to do something about it, but it's because what you're doing and what God's seeing is going to come at you.
Yeah, that's a wait. But Chantel, like, I can't even imagine what my husband would say back to these things. I really can't. Like the wild shit that would come out of his mouth if people were saying this stuff to him. Not saying he would.
I mean, to call someone an abuser is crazy, and like the way he just reacted, very
and they're
calm. And I think
calling
people,
someone a woman abuser from someone who has been
it's
stalking Louis,
crazy.
who has this agenda, who has a proven record of being a narcissist, of being someone who verbally abuses her men, her partners, and that's where they're taking this from. It's so effed up because, like, we all know. Like we all know that Joe isn't innocent. We just do. And it pisses me off because throughout it all, Princess is like trying to gaslight Louis, and Louis says, you know, you're gonna regret what you did with your sister. And Joe again takes zero accountability. He says it's Teresa, it's not him, it's all her. Joe then gets asked about Jacqueline Larita, saying that Joe hung out with Joe Giudice's ex-business partner, who, you know, ended up putting him to jail, and that Chris Larita co-signed this. And Frank involves himself and says that he was Joe's attorney at the time to discuss Joe Giudice. Chantel?
Frank, you were just barred. Bye.
Yeah, I know she was waiting for that. And they did, and Frank says that they asked him to come in and talk about the case. Joe Gorga never did, and that's not what we're talking about here, you guys.
And Teresa even said that. She's like, of course he was not trying to get me.
Yeah,
like,
but still, Chantel, it's not about that. We're not talking about Joe Gorga talking to the FBI. We're saying that he hung out with the ex-business partner, and also Joe Gorga has the balls to say that he loves Joe Giudice. Like, can we please rewind to all the seasons of Joe and Melissa saying they hate him?
Oh my God!
All
like,
the
this is just crazy. At some point during this episode, I went back to my notes that I wrote down all the shit that Joe and Melissa would say about Teresa, and I'm going to read some of them because it's literally insane, and some of them had to do with Joe too.
Yeah. Do you want to read them now? Or
no, just wait, because I'm going to say it then.
Okay, dang. Okay, I'm ready for this. Princess says he'll take a lie detector test. And Melissa's like, you don't need to. And it's like, someone get out the lie detector test. Bring it out.
Yeah, because this is the part that Melissa, you're straight up lying. Yeah. Like, you guys are straight up lying and you're so scared. And this is what people would say.
Teresa says in Italian, you broke my heart. Another All About TRH exclusive that we put out there first. Princess Gorga says, you broke my heart a long time ago. And Melissa says, you broke the whole family. Like,
Melissa didn't even know what she was saying in Italian because she didn't know speak Italian. She's like, what?
Yeah. If you saw her, she's like, wait, what are they saying? And Melissa can't like contain herself. I don't know how people don't see that Melissa is the problem. I just don't. And then they're trying to spin this. And Teresa says, Chris and Jacqueline have no reason to lie. Joe Gorga hated Joe Giudice at the time. Andy is pissed that Teresa's believing Jacqueline. And like Jacqueline told us, she says, yeah, like I can see why Andy would think that since we didn't like each other for so long. Now Princess Gorga tries to spin it and is like, she talks about you. It's disgusting. And Teresa says, I've been through this for 10 years. And Princess Gorga goes, if you would have just met an average guy that didn't have all these videos. And Teresa's like, who gives a shit? If Teresa doesn't have a problem with it, why do you, Princess? And why are you bringing up the videos again that this crazy ass ex put out there and sent you guys? Like, we haven't seen anything that this crazy ass ex sent to Louis because he's not putting it out there.
Like, leave the guy alone. Your sister is happy. Can't you just take that?
And Princess, let's interview your two ex-fiancés and see what they say about you. Let's do that. How about that? Okay. Should we believe them if they say something terrible about you? Which I can.
People are exes for a reason. Yeah. So
Joe calls Louis a disaster, and Louis says it's just a matter of time. Joe and Joe Gorga goes, are you threatening me? And it's like, no, jackass. He's saying your day will come, which karma will come. Teresa says, Joe, why are you even bringing up these videos? You have stuff in your past. And pay attention to Margaret on the side. She's literally just like smirking and loving it all. And someone did tell me that Kim D said that when Teresa gets up and says you have stuff in your past, that apparently there's like a very intense rumor out that Joe I don't want to like say this, like I'm kind of scared to say this. R.A.P. He like, you know, or sexually assaulted someone allegedly back in the day. And we can confirm that's absolutely not what Teresa was talking about when she stood above him. We spoke to several sources that said, quote, Kim D is saying that from her ass. Teresa was never implying that. She was just saying in general, everyone has a past. Kim D has no affiliation with anybody, production sources, anything on the show. So yeah, like Kim D, where is that coming from, boo-boo? Anyways.
Kim D just is still wrapped up in this show. I don't know why.
Yeah. Teresa says, thank you, Margaret, and blames Margaret for ruining the family because clearly Princess Gorga keeps bringing up all the stuff that the ex has said. And Andy is like, oh, yeah, Margaret ruined the family. And I'm like, shut the hell up, Andy.
Yeah, because like
What's up your
Teresa
ass?
exactly, and you know how Teresa is, like how she talks, and like exactly what you just said. She's blaming Margaret for bringing up the ex that it's
so
not saying
that
like
Joe can
the
say
whole
these
15
things.
years is because of
Right.
Margaret. Like, shut
Right.
up. I wanted to go crazy too.
Mm-hmm. They ask Princess if he regrets not going to the wedding, and Melissa smiles the entire time. She was
Remember
so
I
happy.
sent you that picture? I took a picture of her freaking expression when Joe said no, and it's like, you look like that when he said no.
It's so sad. And yeah, she was so happy when he said no. And Princess Gorga explains the Pizzagate thing was pretty much what caused them like not to go to the wedding.
Oh, so not the cheating rumors? Cheating rumors? Yep.
Well, he does bring it up later, but he says it's not about the money. Now, like you guys, like we were saying, I get if Louis went through with the business without Joe, and so Joe felt a type of way, but one, he didn't. Two, he's the one who lost the money, so he should be the one who never looks at you again. And three, you just admitted that you would choose money over being there for your only sister. Like you literally just made it clear that you didn't go because of this Pizzagate thing. Then Joe Gorga acts like Louis tried to take joy in telling him that his wife cheated on him, which was never the case. Princess is so triggered, he calls Louis the Joker, and Louis spoke to and what I want to say is that let's make it clear that Louis did this off camera, not on camera. So he didn't go on camera, warned him up on camera, made him like, oh, what the hell is this about Margaret, who is the one who put this whole rumor out there. I don't understand how Joe's not comprehending all of this. Margaret has been talking to Louis' crazy ex for years, and Louis was telling Princess off camera months before filming began what Margaret was saying behind Melissa's back. Louis says, get ahead of it. Then Andy asks about Teresa saying Joe Gorga can do better than Melissa. And Joe says, no, Teresa didn't say that. It was Gia who did. And Teresa says, I will call my daughter right now. Like, you're really about to lie on my daughter. And he's like, she's just going to lie for you. Now he's going after his niece, calling her a liar.
I was starting to type in caps lock in this part because I literally could not handle what they were doing.
And then you guys, first Melissa, she just went on a recent podcast talking shit about Teresa's niece, her nieces. She literally was like, yeah, she was protecting Margaret's son who doesn't want to be on the show, but they keep talking about him. And then she goes, yeah, he's not like the other ones who goes in confessionals to talk shit and get all dolled up. Like, this is their aunt.
Oh my gosh, she's the worst.
And Melissa keeps saying he wouldn't lie, but your 22-year-old niece would. I'm so confused. And Melissa, like, she in 10 different ways, she's like, my husband would not lie about something like
this
that.
This is the part where you know that they were getting so embarrassed and so scared, especially when Teresa said, I'm going to call Gia. They were like, what the hell? So they were just getting louder and louder to deflect from the actual situation that Gia's probably going to call them out.
And at this point, we just found out that Princess Gorga lied about Dave Canton calling him, and then he lied about Frankie Jr. calling him. So why would he tell the truth about what Gia, his niece, said? Like, he's clearly lying about this as well.
And why can't you say, like, even maybe for a second, why can't you just say, like, maybe I took it wrong, but this is what I thought I heard her say, but they were so adamant about this is what happened.
Right. And you can tell, like, if you guys look at Joe's facial expression the entire time, you could tell that
they were so embarrassed and they were dying, low-key.
They call Gia, and Andy grabs the phone and he asks Gia whether she said Joe could do better than Melissa. Gia says, by the way, we all said this exclusively. Sorry that I keep bringing this up, but our team is correct. She says, I called him and told him that he should do the right thing and come to the wedding, and that Nono and Nona were looking down on him, and Teresa, and Teresa did want him to walk her down the aisle. I never told him that he can do better than my Aunt Melissa. Gia adds, quote, and it's sad, Zio Joe, that you're trying to call me a liar. And Andy quickly ended it, and I just wanted to hit Andy for that as well. Not hit, but yell at my TV screen and be like, Andy, you're so annoying that you quickly ended that call. He was like, all right, thanks, Gia. And it's like, oh, you're the worst.
Well, poor girl. She's trying to have fun at Coachella, and they're calling her, and I know.
But she spoke directly to Joe when she said that. She was like, and Zio Joe, it's really sad that you're trying to call me a liar. And after they hang up,
she's still so nice that she calls him uncle.
I know. It's so funny because they'll go sit there and they'll believe Louis' ex, who has a psychopath history with all these people, because they'll say, oh, we believe her because she's the woman, but they won't believe their 22-year-old niece. It just makes no sense to me, who has no history, no reason to lie about any of this. So they hang up the phone, and by the way, did you see how Melissa advised Joe not to comment on it? But once they hang up, Melissa says, "Why would he ever lie?" And
Yeah,
Teresa says,
exactly.
"Because he's married to you, boo.
She,
That's why."
because I think she tries to remember that she hates bringing kids involved, but then at every moment she brings kids involved. I think she's living in a delusional world. Like she forgets what she says and what she says to other people. I don't know.
I was proud of like Teresa for saying like, well, why would he lie? I mean, he's married to you. I was like, dang, Teresa came quick with it. I was very proud of her. Thank God. Again, Melissa
And she
starts
goes,
calling.
"You're embarrassing." It's like, no, you're embarrassing.
I know. Melissa calls Gia a liar. Teresa looks at Joe and says, "What happened to you? We were best friends. I always put you first." And then her voice cracks, and Joe's like, "I know." And he admits this. He literally looked at her and he's like, "I know you did." And then Melissa's smiling the whole time. And it's like, wake up, people. See who the problem is here. And Joe Gorga says, "You know what happened?" It's like, Joe, well, season 3, 4, 5, and 6 happened. You were feuding with Teresa on all those seasons. You came on the show saying you didn't like Teresa. So why are you asking what happened? Teresa says this is disgraceful, and Melissa's smirking again the entire time. Teresa goes, "I would never raise my children like that." And Melissa smiles while Teresa, runs off. And this is when Melissa says she's embarrassed. And it's like, you're such a fucking gaslighter, dude.
No,
And
you're embarrassed that your husband got called out.
yeah, exactly. And Joe actually looks hurt, but Melissa's happy about all of this. Teresa's disgusted that Joe could lie on her daughter. Teresa says, "I'm done with Joe. I want nothing to do with this." Danielle is the voice of reason here. And she's like, "Forget about all of this, dude. That's your sister." Joe says she'll never give up what's in that brain of hers. And Melissa says that Teresa is having her daughter lie. Again, Melissa keeps going after her freaking niece.
Like, were you on the phone? Were you there? Like, why? That's what I'm saying. Is like they couldn't even like once say like maybe he heard it wrong. Okay, Gia, sorry. Like maybe we heard it this way. It's like the way that you guys are going at her was really mind-boggling to me.
Like you keep saying that your niece is lying, and your niece, like I just can't imagine. I can't imagine our aunts ever do that, Chantal. No matter what, I just
exactly.
can't
Even
ever.
if we did, like they
so
would never.
hurtful.
Yeah, and they would never say that to even our moms or us like that. They would say like, "Oh, I thought she did this." Like they would just like make those comments of like, "Oh, maybe I heard wrong." Like they would get so scared to even do that to the other parent, and that's why Teresa got so sad because she's like, "I can't believe they're doing this with my daughter."
I'm starting to like think Melissa has some weird jealousy when it comes to Gia, and it's creepy.
Yeah, because Joe used to love Gia.
I know. I swear to God, I'm really starting to think it.
Yeah.
So Teresa,
he probably, you know what happens sometimes, and I mean, I think so. Sometimes with certain people, when you have a niece and you don't have kids yet, like, and it's your first niece, you're so obsessed with them because there's no other babies around, So like you form this bond, and then when maybe he had his daughter right away,
he was probably like working all day, and then and Gia would bring up stuff.
Yeah, and he still has that bond that he created with Gia, and he didn't have that bond right away with his daughter, and it takes time. So maybe it could be. It's a good theory.
And yeah, because he had no kids himself at the time, maybe he always like showed up to like Gia's stuff. That was his goddaughter. And like you said, like when you're so excited when the first like kid comes along. And so like then all of a sudden Antonia comes along, and like Melissa's probably like, "Where are you at, dude? I hear all these things with Gia." I can totally see that. So behind the scenes, Gia FaceTimes Teresa and she says, "Don't cry." And she's like beside herself. And Frank says, back at the stage, Frank says, "I've never seen it this bad." And it's like, Frank, you weren't around earlier seasons. He's like, "It's never been this bad, even with the Joe Giudice stuff." And literally,
oh, really?
You guys, they got into multiple altercations. So I would say that's pretty effing bad. And Princess blamed Joe Giudice for his parents dying because of him. So I'm very confused here. I don't know how much worse it could get. Like, that's pretty effing bad. Melissa runs her mouth while Louis and Teresa aren't there, and Andy checks in on Teresa. And Teresa, she's beside herself. She's like, "He lied on my daughter." And Louis says, when Gia did speak about this, she said, "You can do better for mom. Like, be a better man for mom." Never that he can do better than Melissa. Just be that better person and come to the wedding. Like, basically be the bigger person. Andy asks about the accusation thrown at Louis, and Louis says that they just really have to build the narrative. Andy apologized for yelling at Teresa and says he was frustrated. And Teresa's like, "Well, how do you think I feel, Andy?"
Yeah, literally.
I do appreciate that he apologized because, like, it was so aggressive and they're all doing annoying things. So it just pisses me off that he'll look at Teresa and do it, especially in front of her husband. Like, boy, who are you talking to? I would have
They're
been like to
also
my
chill.
husband, right? I would have been like to my husband, check him, hurry up, check him right now. I'd have been so pissed. Like, if a man screams at me like that,
Because
I'm not
he would,
happy.
if imagine if one of the guys said like, okay, like relax, you don't need to talk to her like that. He'd be so shook.
Oh, Andy would have gotten them fired if like he did. I swear, he really, really would have. Andy asks if Teresa and Joe have any final things to say to each other, and Teresa says she's heartbroken. Princess says, I will never say never. And he's like, if this is the best part, you guys. He says, if you got into a car accident tomorrow, he says, I'd be running down the street. And it's like, yeah, we know you would. Why aren't you running now? Joe and Melissa are the type of people who would say like the most foul shit possible, throw out the craziest accusations. And then when they got it all out, say it's sad that you don't want to be cool with me. Teresa is an idiot. And she quotes her dad who said, quote, you honor me when I'm alive, not when I'm dead. Honor me now. And
Amazing.
I was like,
that was the best thing ever.
Oh my gosh, yes. Princess tells Louis to forget about him. And Louis says, you know, he'll forget about him. And Louis says goodbye. And Frank says, do we have your word that you aren't going to investigate anyone? And Louis shakes both their hands. And Princess Gorga.
We've never met anyone like Louis, man. He just gets up and starts shaking people's hands.
He's too nice. He's too nice. Like, stop. Don't be nice to these people. And Princess Gorga looks at Bravo Lover 1234, which she did not deserve this at all. But I'm sorry, not Joe Gorga. You guys, I'm all over the fucking place. I wrote Joe Gorga. Louis looks at Bravo Lover 1234. And to me, she was undeserving of this. But he's like to Bravo Lover.
She was thrown off guard from this too.
He's like, I just want you to know you're a really good mom and what you're doing is a beautiful thing. I would never investigate you guys. And thirsty ass John Fuda is just holding this yellow envelope that he still hasn't opened. And John Fuda says, it
probably was the adoption files that he had with him.
Right. John Fuda says, you want to be my friend? Then you need to admit it. And Louis says, I can't admit it. It's not true. Like, Louis was trying to be the better man. And then you have this thirsty, fame hungry person, John Fuda, who's like being all aggressive with him. And I'm just like grossed out by the entire thing because Louis is trying to do the right thing. Louis, you can't do the right thing with people like this who are so desperate and thirsty for attention. It's like, John, you just met Louis a few months back. You're calling him a con man. You're calling him all these names. And it's like, who the hell are you? You change your whole appearance for your wife's show. It's scary. Princess does run in and he tries to act like he's helping Louis out. And it's like too little too late. Louis keeps his composure. And I don't know how. I would have knocked every one of those people out. I don't give a shit. Andy asked Dolores, what she's feeling. And she says that, obviously nothing is getting resolved and it's time to part ways, that they're both hurt and it's toxic for both of them. And it's like, preach. I agree. Jennifer says that she's done with like the Arsenal bullshit and that she's so over it. She feels like Ireland was a good trip and it was because they all got along. Jennifer says that Margaret was right. Like, it's better to forget things. I get why that would be so hard. I am someone who like, I'll forgive, but I can't forget. So if you do something, I'll remember and be like, see, this is exactly what I meant. Margaret says she has no bad energy towards Danielle, which I found interesting because she has bad energy all the time to people, but not to the one who called her out multiple times.
Yeah, let's see what happens next season. What you're going to say to her?
I think she's actually going to try to befriend her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I just thought that was interesting. Danielle says, I have no bad energy towards you. Now that Margaret says that she's good with Danielle, that gives Bravo Lover 1234 the door to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, if Margaret said she wanted nothing to do with Danielle,
we have so much in common.
Right.
Really?
Bravo Lover would have been like, yeah, no, I just feel like you and I can't see eye to eye. And obviously, so now at this point, Margaret's good with Bravo Lover. Danielle. She's good with Jennifer. Like, they just like made a truce at this point. Teresa says that she bent over backwards for Melissa. She just wanted peace throughout her wedding. Andy says, so are we closing the door? And Teresa says, I wish her well, but we're closing the door. And of course, Melissa takes zero accountability here and just says she feels the hate from Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, when you call her daughter a liar and drag her kids like you have, you you and your husband call her husband a woman abuser on national TV. Of course she's going to want nothing to do with you, period. Melissa says no matter how, things end, she really tried. She always has tried. It was never good enough for Teresa. The same sob story. We have shared hundreds of clips of Teresa trying with Melissa and Melissa wanting nothing to do with it. She says, despite what people think, she loves her and she worries for her.
This threw me.
But she says that she worries for her, which is a dig about Louis, which is another reason why you're full of shit.
And first of all, this is like an abuse. It's like I love yous mean nothing because it's like an abusive person hitting someone and saying, oh, but I love you. It's like what you guys keep doing constantly to her. How do you love her? How? Exactly. Please explain it to me.
So true. And then she says she'll go with the flow with it, whatever the family decides to do. Melissa, you're canceled. It's done. You're finito. You are over. You're canceled. There's nothing that's going to happen. And I need to say
what family? Your husband that's not a brother anymore? What family?
Right. And I need to say this. So there's been speculation going on, and this will be on allabouttrh.com, that Margaret and Melissa have been fired from the show. And while I would love to confirm that that's true, that's absolutely not true. I don't know where the hell this is coming from. This is not true. No one knows anything right now. All the housewives don't know what their status is. They don't know anything. None of the housewives think any of the other housewives are fired. All that the housewives know is that they were all asked to refer new housewives. So that's all they know, is that Bravo right now is interviewing new housewives. They didn't plan on bringing new housewives in, but things are so divided that they're saying we need to bring in more new housewives. They don't know yet. They still haven't made a decision yet on what they're going to do, what makes sense, meaning they all might come back. There might be some firings, but Margaret and Melissa, that rumor that's getting thrown out there, I wish, you guys, I really do wish whoever's saying it is just saying it for like attention or clout or whatever to get like, so I don't know. Cause people keep saying it on Twitter. It's not true. So no one knows anything yet. And that's the actual truth.
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Chantal, was there more things you wanted to say about the episode?
Well, no, what I want to explain to people are all the things that Melissa and Joe, mostly Joe, because I think he's more of the problem, throughout the seasons, what he said to her. So like when they say I love you, it means nothing because what they do to her throughout the years, basically. Do you want me to tell you what some of the notes I had?
Let's go. I'm very proud of this.
Okay. This is season 3. Obviously, everyone knows this is the season they came on. He calls her garbage, and there's so much in this season that I'm not going to go into because this was like them going crazy on each other. But season 4 comes and he goes and tells Melissa everything Teresa had said about Melissa. And everyone knows a brother should never do this. And like, would you ever want to go and tell your, like, my brother would never tell me what his wife said about me. Like, no,
that causes so much more problems.
Yeah, and so everyone knows that. So why would you do that? And he does that, and that causes so much problems in season 4. Does. In season 4, episode 10, he called her not loyal and a bad person. Season 4, episode 15, he says it's hard to be Teresa's friend because she never admits when she's wrong. This is all Joe. Season 4, episode 17, he says that Teresa never takes on ownership, and no wonder people are getting tired of her and her husband, Joe Giudice. Okay. And then
about your own sister.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let me see if this one's even a part. Oh, in season 4, he basically says that he didn't feel anything when, Joe G called, Teresa a see you next Tuesday. Like, he probably was happy that happened. He says, like, I didn't feel anything. Season 5, episode 1, he says the love I don't have for my own family. Okay. Season 5, episode 4, he tells Teresa she doesn't even cook. Okay, so like basically taunting that she doesn't even cook, or all of her recipes are his mom's, and like her cooking meant nothing, which is so false. Like, look, here's Teresa now doing a YouTube channel of showing her cooking. It's like, you're so jealous that she's actually doing something with her life.
So jealous.
Season 5, episode 5, he calls her a bitch. Okay. Like, what brother does this? Season 5, episode 7, he says, I'm not sticking with scum like you. Okay. Season 5, episode 8, he says she's disgusting, and that if his father was to die, that he wouldn't even go to his own funeral without Teresa. Like, he wouldn't go with the funeral if Teresa's there.
Oh my God, I don't recall that.
Yeah. And I think it says an 8-minute mark. So if people want to go see, that's the 8-minute mark. And then in the same episode, the 16-minute mark, he says he hates her. The same episode in the 33-minute mark, he says that she's a devil and she creates all the problems and has nothing in her heart anymore.
Wow.
So then why would you want to hear I love you after all those things that you've been dealing with your brother throughout these years? Yeah. Even Melissa, don't tell me you love me because I don't love you. No, I
Oh,
don't.
nothing to do with you. And you guys, Teresa's so fucking done with them. She's done. So if Bravo does decide to bring them back, it's going to be a season of everyone trying to like make them be friends, and it's not going to work. Like, I do genuinely think Teresa is like distraught over the fact that this is happening to her family. But I also think she is sad about it and then just like heartbroken, but like realizes I am so disappointed. There's like no going back from this. Like there's just no going back. Especially with with a freaking sister-in-law like that, like step away. I would fucking never ever be involved with that. I mean, but
100%.
that's the episode, you guys. That was a long one. I'm so sorry. Like I
know, I'm
totally
like,
I know when I was like all over the place. I swear to God, I was so dizzy and I'm like feeling off for some reason today. I know
drink water though.
I know ever since like I swear to God, ever since I like left Pilates, like I'm literally feeling so off. And here I am. I went and bought a membership like a dumbass. Watch it not even be good. This always happens to me. I don't know. But yeah, like so you guys, tomorrow we
have to announce our winner.
Yes. Who is our winner? What do you like? What is their like? Is it their YouTube name or what is it?
And no, it's their it is their YouTube name. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
It's a normal name. So.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So you win $50 Amazon gift card. We'll try to find you. Yeah,
DM us. Claim your prize. We'll announce.
I'm just nervous. What if they're not on Instagram? But we'll find you somehow if you don't DM us. But it's Crystal Ramaya.
Oh my gosh, Crystal Ramaya, you just won $50 Amazon gift card. Definitely please send us your address and reach out to us. We're not some creepsters.
Yeah, email address because we're going to do a e-gift card.
Oh, we can do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
get with it, girlfriend.
Send us your home address.
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, congrats. We are so happy. I feel like we're gonna do another giveaway with YouTube just because like I know we're trying to make that a thing and you guys were like super into this, but congrats to her. Very happy for her. And thank you guys all for entering. And I'm sorry that you guys didn't win. I feel like I never win anything. It makes me sad.
I know. I actually won something recently. Yeah.
Chantel won something where it was like liposuction.
No, it wasn't. It's the
she won something from like a local
section.
spa that teamed up with a million different people where they could like give you those abs and then like a facial.
Yeah, it's like the machine that goes on your abs for like, you can get like it's like 20,000 abs in like an hour or something.
You literally won like $1,000 worth of things.
Yeah, that was my first thing I've ever won and I was shocked.
And you didn't give me anything. You come to my house, you take my clothes all the time, and you said you got like a bunch of retinol stuff. You didn't even give me anything.
You don't need it.
Okay,
it's a compliment.
Okay, my ass. This is a liar. She sold it or something.
How about all the times what I do for your kids in the planning of the parties?
Oh, you know what I will say? In Jack's birthday.
Yeah, I'm not doing it because I'm planning my wedding. No.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Like, don't even piss me off right now.
No.
So Chantel, for every single one of if you guys go look at my Minimalish Mom, I do a lot of like DIY things. However, I will say like Chantel, like on birthdays, even my mother-in-law has said like, Chantel, what would she do without you?
Seriously. So you don't need no spa things.
Yeah, that's so true. She basically will plan, or she'll do the balloon garlands. Like she'll do everything for me that day. So it's like not that stressed, but then she'll leave 20 minutes later and says, fuck you, after the party started. And I'm like, dude, like celebrate my children.
No, I don't have kids. Bye.
I know. And I'm doing a birthday for Jack. It's just like with immediate family at my house. And I always do a theme. So like his theme is one happy dude because he's the happiest baby ever. And Chantel's going to 100% be doing the balloon garlands with me and everything.
Oh my God. Yeah. Stop doing those. Like hire someone.
No, why would I do that?
Does someone in Michigan want to give it to Rexia?
No, we're not a Real Housewife. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can. You have an Instagram. You can crop them out.
No. Chantel, shut up. I am like getting like a gym and stuff that I am renting out a gym just for like our little kids and like Jack's best friend, Zach, who we are obsessed with, which is Rochelle. She doesn't listen to this, but she supports everything. And she'll be like, I don't like Melissa because you guys don't. And like, she's one of those. Anyways, I'm going to screen record this and send it to her. She's going to be shooketh. Anywho, yeah, you guys. So tomorrow are we going to post the Jennifer tomorrow? I don't know.
No.
We'll see.
Oh, no. We Wednesday and Thursday, maybe.
Well, yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. Duh. Okay, Thursday and Friday, maybe.
Okay, yeah. So, well, if we do 2 parts, which I think we are, we'll do one Wednesday, Thursday, then we have to do Orange County, which, like, did you watch episode 1 of Orange County?
No, but I will.
I
I'm
didn't.
excited because I can't wait to room into camera.
Well, just so you guys know, it got incredible ratings, but Bravo was so smart with this. I wondered, why would they put it on immediately after Vanderpump Rules? Like, we already have like so much to digest. Then I realized, well, Vanderpump Rules is going to have the most incredible ratings. People are going to leave their TV on and say, oh, Orange County's on, let me watch it. And they really did get incredible ratings. And the sad part is Tamara's
Was it
going to
over
take
1
credit for it.
million?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
Well,
they've
she
never.
deserves that because, like, she did, like, I mean, when she
But
left
it's
the
not
show.
because of Tamara. It's not. It's literally because of the Vanderpump Rules. They were
I
very
know.
calculating.
We'll see what happens the rest of the season.
Yeah, and like you could just tell she was so excited and giddy to be back. And it's so funny. She just came out with a story as well that says like she was super upset that she found out a friend was going to come on the show, and they also had a gym and they didn't tell her and all this stuff. And it's like, so
We'll talk about it. We'll talk.
feels?
Yeah, we'll talk about it more because there's a lot I want to say about this girl.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Sorry that it's all over the place. Please write us a review. If you're on Apple Podcast, you just literally, you go to our episodes, you go down, it says write a review. Even if it's some feedback, still give us 5 stars. We have a lot of trolls and haters coming for us. That I still don't understand why they listen to even this point.
Whoever's the lightning bolt person is literally their camp.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
just
you
telling
guys,
you right
there's
now.
a lightning bolt person that writes us a review.
You Harry Potter?
Their username is taken with a lightning bolt. Taken one, and I swear to God, every episode that we have, they update their review to an even nastier review about us. And I'm like, why are you listening to us? So taken one, like we're on to you. Stop listening to us. You are so miserable listening to us. Stop. Like, it's okay. Like, we don't want you to be that miserable that you're going to go and write a bad review every single new episode. Just don't listen to us. Like, we appreciate the download. Just don't, though. Like, don't do that to yourself. I would never do that to myself. But yeah, we have a lot of editing to do and YouTubing and all that. So I think that's enough for tonight. Okay.
Yeah, this is really long. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. Yes, please subscribe. Thank you guys for everything. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Be sure to check out allabouttrh.com for everything Real Housewives and Bravo TV. And please make sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at allabouttrh podcast.